political elites in this country are playing a risky game and Americans are about at a breaking point. There were a couple headlines today that tell you everything you need to know about the wasteland that is Washington, D.C. First up, annual inflation reaches 7.5%, the highest rate since February 1982, a story that shouldn't surprise you. The inflation that they told us was transitory is fully permanent. They lied, like they always do. And tonight the president went on with Lester Holt to lie some more.
A lot of Americans are wondering what your definition of temporary is.
Well, you're being a wise guy with me a little bit, and I understand that's your job. Supply chains were cut off, meaning that the products, for example, automobiles, the lack of computer chips to be able to build those automobiles so they could function, they need those computer chips. They were not available. So what happens? The number of cars were reduced, the new cars were reduced. It made up at one point 1/3 the cost of inflation.
Cars. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That explains why every single bill that you have is going up. There's not enough computer chips for cars. Which computer chip makes bacon, by the way? I haven't figured that out. The average household is spending $276 more every month as a result of the auto chip crisis, as Biden puts it. The other story that should have you enraged, though, this morning, the most tone-deaf political administration in the history of politics, at the same time as these inflation numbers come out, announces a bailout plan for themselves, giving all government employees their biggest raise in 20 years, with your money. A 4.6% raise is the proposal, a government that spent us into rampant inflation, ready to dump more fuel-soaked dollars right onto the fire, making things worse for you so they can be better for them. A government that wants to skyrocket taxes to rapidly expand itself also wants to give itself a 4.6% raise. But no 4.6% tax cut for the American people, no. There's no bailout for you. In fact, they want more of your money. This government is dividing America into two teams rapidly. It's us and them. They always avoid the disasters they create. Rampant inflation, no problem. Just give ourselves a huge raise. They insulate themselves. They destroy the country and bail themselves out. Just like Nancy Pelosi ready to sell her San Francisco mansion, shopping for oceanfront property in Palm Beach, Florida, where it's nice and safe and clean. Same story as COVID. You better wear the mask, but nah, we really don't want to, as we see every time Democrats get together to raise money or have a little party. The defund the policers. Your life becomes more dangerous. They just spend hundreds of thousands of your dollars on private security for themselves. It's the same story over and over. So for the swamp and government employees, it looks like inflation won't be much of a problem. How nice for them. But for everybody else, 7.5% inflation is throwing away 2 paychecks every single year. It's the highest inflation since 1982. A year when Ronald Reagan was working hard to save this country from the Carter disaster. 1982, Swamp Thing premiered in movie theaters. How appropriate. Today, GOP leaders shared some images of what 1982 looked like to them. Let's pull some up. Little toddler on the right there is New York Congressman Lee Zeldin back in 1982. The teen on the left in this one, can you tell? That's Kevin McCarthy, Minority Leader. Donald Trump was a 36-year-old developer in Manhattan. The first year he made it onto the Forbes 400 list, 1982. Looks good. Here's Joe Biden in 1982, his 9th year as a senator. There he is, just as crooked as ever. Here's myself in 1982. I'm actually in that belly on the left. I bet there's alcohol in that drink. It would explain a lot. But hey, don't worry. The White House has everything under control. Biden is working like the devil to fix inflation.
We're in a situation now where, you should have peace of mind.
I feel so much better. We have peace of mind. You can trust Biden on this. It's Joe Biden, who's done nothing but screw up since he was elected to the Senate back in 1848. In fact, one of the president's only accomplishments in reality is simply an unexpected consequence of his horrible policies, something that just happened to fall his way. That would be rising wages in this country, the only thing that this White House can brag about, and of course they naturally do it all the time.
For many Americans, wages are up this year. In January, wage increases were strong across the board, and that's good. We have to continue to keep wages growing.
In reality, the wage increases that people have seen come at a tremendous cost. This administration has completely destroyed the labor market in this country. We don't have enough workers. We don't have enough good workers. Businesses are so desperate to hire anybody, they're digging into their bottom lines to attract workers and paying way more than jobs should be paid in some cases. So people doing a lot of low-end jobs are getting raises out of nowhere, and their bosses are getting crushed in the process. So what do you do in that situation? Well, you raise prices. Hello, inflation. Just another of the causes of the inflation we have now. Workers have gotten, what, a 3-4% raise is what they always brag about? Oh, yeah, but their lives cost 7.5% more. Great job, Team Biden. The truth is there's nothing for this White House to brag about at all. In fact, a CNN poll shows that 56% of Americans say Biden has improved nothing since taking office more than a year ago. It's a CNN poll. The same CNN poll shows 62% of Americans disapprove of how Biden is handling the economy. 62%. The economy is a make or break. That's why everybody's talking about Hillary right now. Can you imagine? And if you're worried about 7.5% inflation, you probably need to worry a little bit more. We had economist Peter Schiff on about a month ago. He had this warning back in January.
If we just used the same CPI that we used during the 70s and the 80s and applied the numbers today, we would get about 15% inflation for 2021.
Yeah, it might not be 7.5%. In fact, he's a pretty smart guy, and he says it's closer to 15%.
Hey, I'm Rob Schmitt. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.